tap in. Tap, tap, 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 tap in.
Hey everybody, it's your girl TT from the D. I am super stoked to be able to come to you live and direct here for Tap In Tuesday. So for all of my people that are following on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, through StreamYard, those of you that's over there in Instagram world, shout out to you guys. If you want to chime in and share your questions, your comments as we break down and unpack the 5 love languages, all my Instagrammers, go right on over to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, my YouTube page, you name it, we're there. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm super excited. First of all, thank you. Thank you to every viewer, no matter where you are in the world. I'm very aware and I'm humbled to know that I have listeners across the globe. I want to ramble the names off. I'm going to make me a cheat sheet because I don't want to miss anyone. But I know that I am heard. And when I did the analytics, I was looking like, what? Like me? Like this show? It's like, wow. There's over 10 countries outside of the US, and I'm super excited about that TT from the D podcast show is heard, that listeners tune in, and I have the analytics to prove it. And so I'm like, thank God for analytics, because I'm thinking like I'm just here in the US. Heck, I'm TT from the D, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, we're good going live from the D, whatever. Even though I talk to everybody because I'm all about everybody. I'm a people's person, right? And so when I learned about it last year, I was like, I gotta address my people across the globe, because what my show said, we got something for everybody, right? We got something for everybody. And today we're gonna unpack the 5 love languages of love. So if you are in a marriage, if you are in a serious relationship, right? This is a show that will probably resonate with you. If you're a player, it's not going to resonate with you, but you will get to know how your significant other, your boo thing, your baby mama, your baby daddy, your side chick, your side boo, whatever. Who am I to chase and claim and blame? I am nobody. I am nobody. I am just like you. I'm no better than you. I just choose to do differently than some of you, right? I choose a different path. I choose to be married and I choose to be happy in that marriage, right? Because I am. And so I know that my marriage is covered because it's under covenant. And I hope that every man and woman, boy and girl, and others, that if you are in a committed relationship, that your union is favored and that it's covered. And one thing you can do is check out this book. Now, is Dr. Chapman paying me to tell y'all about his book? Look at that. I got up there. So, and then here for my Instagrammers, right? No, he's not. But this is a wonderful, wonderful book. How do you know that, TT? Let me tell you how I know. And it's not just like, oh, somebody told me, like, oh, and hold on, I got to adjust my chair because, my son, he be down here doing his work and he be doing the most. Yeah, he like to drop it low like it's a low rider, but it's not. It's a chair. So anyway, when I am my husband and I, for all my friends in education, because y'all know I come from the education realm, and my friends will gut me. Like, TT, did you really say that like that? Yes, I did. I'm hyped. I'm relaxed. Shout out to my sister from another mother, Yoshana. Our you time. Thank you, sister. This book right here is a book. It's an amazing read for people who are getting ready to enter a marriage. Definitely. It's definitely a great book for people who are in a marriage, because we can always learn something. For those of you that feel like, oh, I already know, you can't tell me. Okay, well, you know what? If you're not willing to sow into your union, if you're not willing to grow and spread your wings, then you'll never be able to really reach that plateau of love with the one that you've changed her name, or your name's been changed, if that makes any sense, right? So this book here, again, this is not a book. I didn't get paid by Dr. Chapman to tell y'all about this book, but I can actually vouch for it because myself and my husband, Swifty, okay, we read this book. It was homework to us, right? Why was it homework, TT? Let me tell you, let me explain. So, when we were going through premarital counseling prior to getting married 10 and a half years ago, our pastor, shout out to Harvey Carey from Citadel of Faith Covenant Church. That's our pastor. Amazing man, right? Amazing man. Not holier than thou, but he's a man of God. He understands. He walks the same road as you and I. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, like you and I. He passed gas like you and I. You understand me? He's not one of those Bible thumpers. I'm just going to tell you, and then I think he is a man that understands his flaws and his faults, but yet he knows that he has been governed and charged with the skill set, the knowledge, and the ability to lead people who want to be led in the right direction. Now, some of us run off and follow anybody and everybody, and you need to look at who you're following. I'm not just talking about social media. You need to do that too. Some of y'all, while we're going through fast and things of that nature, a lot of people have fasted from social media. Okay, so it's a little bit different for me. I'm like, you know what? I get tired too, y'all, looking at social media. A lot of people don't realize I actually get on social media to do my promos. And while I'm on there putting my promo stuff out there, I sometimes see things that's going on. Do I stay on social media? Heck no. I have no time for it. Y'all like that? Because I'm working on my cousin. So anyway, so I don't have time, but it's interesting because some of you guys are comical, right? Yeah, some of you are comical, and then some of y'all just flat out, y'all need some counseling, like a different type of counseling. We all have. I was that girl who needed counseling. I needed anger management back in the day. For real. If you know, you know. So I needed anger management back in the day. Look what it did for me, right? So, but I'm serious. On a serious note, it was just like sometimes it's okay. We all need a little booster, right? When Pac-Man, think about this. You know, I love metaphors. So think about Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man, because you know we running things. So, and remember, she could be chased by the ghost and she'd be gone. But every now and then she need a power pellet. And that's one of my nicknames my husband gave me, power pellet. Boop. So yeah, so anyway, so that she needs to go and get her a power pellet so she can gobble, gobble, gobble. You know, when that music intensifies and it rises up. So every now and then we need a power pellet. And some of y'all think you like are invincible, and none of us, let's be clear, none of us are invincible. And that brings me to this. Before I get into my book, and I got a bonus book for you guys. What Did You Expect by Paul Tripp. Amazing. How do I know? How do you know, TT? Let me tell you how I do. How I know. Because I'm a marriage ministry leader ordained by our pastor. And when we had our marriage ministry group prior to COVID-19 manifesting its ugly face, we met weekly. And it was something that many married couples looked forward to. And we need to reinstate that, whether it's behind the church walls or it's out in the atmosphere. Because guess what? Marriages exist and they're going to coexist and they're going to thrive or they're not. Whether you attend a church behind four walls and a roof or you're outside in your backyard. If a bunch of us get together that are married, let me be clear about this, then I'm going to go on to what I was going to say. If a bunch of us get together, or a few of us, it doesn't take many, okay, where two or more are gathered in God's name, then he is present. Let's be clear. Okay, let's be clear. Y'all know I'm comical and I laugh, but when it comes to love, when it comes to love, when it comes to marriages, I'm about that life. Because I know I grew up and I didn't have many examples to look at to say, oh, when I get grown, I hope that I'll get married. And I didn't have much of that. Like my parents weren't married. As a matter of fact, my father was married to someone else. And I'm a product of an affair. Oh my God, TT, hey, my dad loved me and claimed me. It is what it is, and it was what it was. I am a product of an affair. Did I go through some things with that thought and knowledge of understanding it as I got older? Hell yeah. Now, some of y'all grieved. Oh my gosh, she just cussed. Yeah, I did. I told you earlier, the disclaimer is I'm not perfect. I'm not holier than thou. If God can use me, he can use anybody. Because let me tell you, my life is a story waiting to be written, and it will one day, but not today. Today's not the day. So anyway, these are two books we're going to talk about. But before we talk about unpacking the love language, we're going to talk about, and Instagrammers, anybody on Instagram, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to see this, but if you go to my YouTube page, TT from the D podcast, if you go to LinkedIn, if you go to Twitter, if you know me, then you can go to my personal page. But if you don't know me, then you just need to go to like TT from the D podcast. There's a whole page for that. And then you can actually see what I'm getting ready to talk about, because God has blessed me in so many areas of life that I am a woman of many things, if I can say it like that. I don't know if that's the proper way to say that, but I'm a woman that wears many hats. I think that's a better way. That's probably a better way to say it. So I just finished More Than the Eyes Can See. Shout out to Crystal P. Amazing, amazing. If you were at More Than the Eyes Can See this past Saturday, you already know she provided more than the eyes can see. If you saw some of my live footage, I took a little bit and shared it with you. You already know. Okay. Amazing. I was her stage manager. I'm grateful. This was the 3rd year, and I was blessed to be the stage manager for the 3rd year. So that means I must know what I'm doing, right? Because Crystal P is a professional. She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing wife. She's an amazing mother. She's a serial entrepreneur. Just awesome. Okay. And so we just wrapped that. Amazing. So now I'm on to the next project. I'm working currently. Well, actually, I was working simultaneously on let's see. What you say? You're just flat out anointed and appointed. Come on, Queen. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Thank you, babe. Appreciate you. So I was working simultaneously on both projects, right? So I was in rehearsals for More Than the Eyes Can See. And I'm still in rehearsals for Peerless Times. And so I still juggled it. I still am a mother, right? I'm still a wife, even though my husband is on tour on the other side of the earth with Snoop. I mean, we're doing what we're supposed to do because we allowed ourselves to be obedient, but God allows your gift to make room for you if you allow him to manifest and work some things out in your life. That's totally between you and God. And you know your situation. I don't. I can only tell you from my own personal testimony and my truth. I'm not going to ever come on here and tell you some things just because I wanted to say some things to try to encourage you on a level of something that I don't believe. That is not what I'm going to do. That is not my calling. It's not a part of my DNA. I flat out rather not talk to you at all if I had to blow smoke up your ass. Now, some of you agreed again, like, oh my gosh, she just cussed again. Yeah, I did. Sorry, but not sorry. Okay, so anyway, so I'm working on Peerless Times. I'm a stage manager for Peerless Times. Shout out to TJ Hempfield, Pamela English, Shirley Smith, Joe Smith. Amazing. We got a phenomenal cast. If you do not have your tickets for Peerless Times, what you waiting on? Like, what you waiting on? I was actually supposed to interview Pamela English and Shirley Smith tonight, 2 of the amazing producers from Peerless Times. However, we are in rehearsal tonight. And because I have my show and I'm dedicated to my show, I'm dedicated to you guys, the viewers, the listeners, right? This is a part of my job. So I have to be ready to be. So I'm not at rehearsal. Please believe if I didn't have my show tonight, which is a live stream, I would be at Peerless Times rehearsal because we are preparing to give you a mind-blowing ministry in a Broadway fashion. That's the best way I could probably say that, in a Broadway fashion. So I'm going to share the 2 queens who I was going to have on my show. I'm sad that they couldn't be here, but I totally understand. I get it. It's not like they just said, oh, TT, we don't want to come on your show. No, we scheduled it weeks out, but we had a rehearsal that was not a part of our actual schedule. And when the boss talked, you listen. So for those of you that are on my LinkedIn, Twitter, all those pages, you're going to see the flyers. Instagrammers, you won't. But like I said, if you go to YouTube, if you go to LinkedIn, Twitter, my Facebook page, TT from the D podcast, you'll be able to see what I'm saying. So here's the flyer for Peerless Times, first of all. And let me cut my camera because you're not caring about me. So it's April 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Fabulous Fisher Theater in Detroit, Michigan. Okay. You have the beautiful Kiera Sheard, Erica Peoples from True to the Game, and many other projects. You have the one and only Kevin Stewart Jr. Amazing, amazing. The one and only Amber Ty, who is a phenomenal actress. She's a writer, producer, director, model, influencer, amazing mom, great. And man, this queen sang her face off. Her whole family is musically inclined. One Nation. So they're going to be in the building April 6th, April 7th, April 8th. at the Fisher Theater. If you don't have your tickets, then I would really, really advise. I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to beg you, because it will be your loss. And that's not no shade. This is not Florida, but I'm not being shady. Yet I would advise some sunglasses probably. This is a ministry that's coming to life right before your very eyes. Some people really have to be a visual learner versus an auditory learner, which you can hear something like the Bible experience. You could be a person that could read about the Bible, but it's nothing like witnessing it. I promise you, there's a message that's in several places, and you definitely can relate to it without a doubt. And so, moving on, these are the two queens, Shirley Smith and Pamela English. Beautiful ladies, amazing producers, so in tune with what's going on with Peerless Times. And again, I'm sorry that they couldn't make it tonight, but I do plan to have them and others from the show after we do it. So it's going down next week. So some of you have texted me, some of you have called me about tickets. I don't have access to tickets right now. I don't. So now you have to actually go to the website, right? You want to go to the Fisher Theater website. You still can reach out to some of the cast members. I believe some of the cast members are still selling some tickets. So if you just put in the hashtag Peerless Times or Peerless Times 2023, I definitely guarantee you'll find a chorus person, an actress, a producer, director, whatever, whomever, somebody tied to it, and just follow like the yellow brick road, right? Follow it. You'll get more information. Now, let's jump into the title of tonight. We're going to talk about, here we go again. Here's the book. Okay, hold on. Sorry. There we go. The Heart of the Five Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. We're on unpack that tonight. This is the book. Ladies and gentlemen, over there in Twitter world, I'm sorry, Instagram world, you don't know. So this is the book. I want you to see it. So you can be familiarize yourself with that. And then I'm going to go back over here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's over there and all the other places that you can visually see. We're talking about the love language. And it's so exciting. I was really excited to be able to go into our sitting area where we have my husband. It was my husband's idea. So shout out to Swifty. He said, babe, you know, in our sitting area, if we don't want to entertain people or catch a movie in a different area in our house, what about having like a little library? A good area we can just sit back, relax, and read. I'm like, okay. So we have shelves of different things. And you know me, I try to be an organizer. And so I'm like, oh, let's put all the things that's motivational, inspirational, musically inclined, spiritual, blah, 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 murder mysteries, whatever, whatever. And I'm so excited to be able to go in there anytime and grab this book. And then when I was in there grabbing it, because I told you guys last night, or I think I might have mentioned it last night, but I know for a fact that I mentioned it when I did my morning show, the top of the morning show, which you can hear on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Anchor.fm, the original platform. You can hear that my top of the morning show each and every morning, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so yesterday we talked about affirmations, right? And then today we unpacked acts of service. So we're going to kind of go through the 5 love languages. I'll see how much I can unpack for you guys, but because I don't want to not tap into this. This is a whole week. I'm going to do a series on this too, like for real. I'm so committed to this. I think I'm going to pray on it first, but I think what I'm going to do for my top of the morning show, and I want to start fresh. I want you guys to know this whole book. So for those of you that are not really readers, like some people don't like to read. I respect that. Some people are audio. You know, you like to listen. So I like to read. I don't mind. I think I got a pretty cool voice. It's not raspy, but it's interesting. I would say it. That's a nice way to say that. But I think I'm going to take a month because it's going to take some time to unpack this book. And I'm going to read chapters by chapters and break it down for you, ladies and gentlemen. What did you expect? I think it'd be great to even do this. And that's the beautiful thing about being a podcaster. You can really do what you want. And so I really would have to dedicate like a month to that. And in that month, when I unpack it, You know how I love to have guests for you guys to engage with and talk with. I probably would have like therapists, counselors, husbands, wives, people in relationships, people in failed relationships, right? Divorcees, everybody. Because remember, we got something for everybody. Hey, honey. Shout out to honey over in Bahrain. It's always good to see you, my friend, when you log on over here. I support what that looks like to you because I know you're on a different timeline. So thank you. Hani is from Bahrain for those of you that's in the other platforms, and he's a big supporter of my husband, Swifty McVeigh. And he's also a big supporter of me, of my podcast show. I'm really grateful to all of you guys. But Hani like is on the other side of the country and it's like, what? I think Hani is probably one of my very first outside of the US listeners and supporters. I have people like over in Bangladesh, I have people in India, um, Iran, the Netherlands, Africa, Canada. The list goes on. And like I said earlier, I don't want to be disrespectful because I have a lot of listeners and I'm so grateful. I hope to one day be able to meet each and everybody, but I probably won't. But virtually, I can meet everybody, right? So if you tune in, you log in and you go over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. If you have a Facebook account, you can go over there and engage. You can always interact with me over there because that's where I stream live from. Instagram does not allow us to do that through StreamYard, but they're working on it. So we'll see how that looks. So anyway, we're going to unpack the 5 love languages. I'm not going to hold you long. I'm going to try to stay true to the hour. So do you know what the 5 love languages are? I wish that I had people that were over in the chat area. I can see people that's there, but not in the chat area. And I wish that people could tap in and tell me, or even in Instagram world, if you guys want to tap in and say, hey, I know the 5 love languages, or I know one of the 5 love languages. I would love to hear that from my listeners, my engagers, to let me know that this is something that we really, really, really find important. So on my own merit, I'm going to break it down a little bit because I want to talk about the bonus book, which is by Paul Tripp, What Did You Expect? Because when we get in relationships, let's be clear, we be looking like, what the hell did I sign up for? Or we say, what's that famous saying? I ain't signed up for this. Oh no, I ain't signed up for that. I ain't signed up for that. I ain't signed up for that. But in reality, you did. We don't tend to know what we're really getting into until we get into it. For those of you that jump head first, you bump your head quite a bit. And so, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, take some diving lessons, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about the 5 love languages. Number 1, words of encouragement. Number 2, according to Dr. Gary Chapman. Number 2, quality time. Okay. Number 3, receiving gifts. Number 4, acts of service, which today's show on the top of the morning show, we talked about acts of service. I gave you a kind of overview, some examples, because some people are like, you know what, I ain't never heard of that or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. I can share it with you. Okay. Number 5, physical touch. Do you know your love language? More importantly, do you know your spouse's love language? Because if you're in a covenant, if you're in a serious relationship, it's so important to know the 5 love languages because oftentimes, more than not, we tend to communicate through love languages, whatever that looks like for you. Let me tell you, one communication should be 6 love languages, but it's okay. Communication is a bonus. It's the gap bringer. Because in any successful relationship, you have to have communication, whether it's with your significant other or it's with your child or children. You have to have an open door, an open line of communications. Real talk. You must. It's imperative. It's important. It's what we do. And for those of you that are in serious relationships, you already know. Like if you've watched failed relationships growing up, you understand what that looks like when it's not right. So we want to tend to do better because we know better. And that's a cliche saying because quite often, more than not, We say it, but we don't do it, right? Well, when you know better, you do better. Okay, well, then maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know because you're super sucking at this. Or maybe we don't know and we don't want to take accountability because some folks don't like accountability, right? We be hell raisers, hell bringers, drama creators, and we don't want no accountability. But when you know the 5 love languages for yourself, know your own. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody, learn your spouse's love language. It's important just to know. Uh, if you don't know yours, it really doesn't matter if you know your wife's or your husband's. It really doesn't matter. You know why? Because you don't know what makes you tick. You don't know what makes you happy. So before you go out here and sightsee and be trying to gather all this data, trying to learn him, trying to learn her, learn yourself. Like, do you like words? Do you get moved by words, encouragement, motivation? Do you get moved by acts of service? It's been a long day. You've voiced your concern. I'm not going to say complain. You voiced your concern to your significant other. This is a two-way street. Let's get it very clear. Men, it's not just you. You go out and you're like, well, I worked all day and she's home and, whether she's working from home or she's raising a child or 2 or more. I mean, I'm out all day. Uh, Raising a child or children is a job in itself and it's taxing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. So it's a job, right? And for those of you that are at home dads, y'all know. Like, I tip my hat to my husband. My husband is very versatile, a great father, great husband. And I thank God that during our child rearing, and we're still raising our son, that he was so hands on with Cody because I did my little, what they give you, 8, 12 weeks, right? And I was back to work. I got shit to do, right? But I got to be a mom, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But my husband was flexible. And when he had to go on the road and tour while Cody was little, my mother was very instrumental in being very active and supportive and helpful. My sisters, it was just a village. And so some people don't have villages. So when you have a significant other, you don't want to take them for granted. And a lot of times, fellas, no shit shaming on you. But some of y'all, I talk to some of y'all, and I be looking at y'all like, the hell? Hearing some of the stuff that comes out of some of y'all mouths is beyond me. I'm like, wow, I couldn't be married to you, sir, because you're sexist and you're disrespectful. Like, yeah, no. But there's somebody for everybody. Okay, there's somebody for everybody. That's why you gotta be careful who you change their names, who you allow to change their names, and those that you choose to change their names. Some of y'all got married and you had no business getting married. You got married for all the wrong reasons. She had a big ass. She was pretty. What's that little saying they say? This guy he stood into my DM and he told me I was pretty. But what he didn't know is I've been through that shit. So that's funny because it's kind of like for those disrespectful people, because men do it and women. Let's be clear. I'm not shitting on the fellas. Ladies, some of y'all be sliding up in these men DMs and I be looking like, what? And they be talking about y'all, right? I got male friends and female friends, obviously, but they be talking and they be talking about y'all. And you think that shit cute. It's not. And you're definitely not wife or husband material when you sliding up in DMs and you're disrespecting yourself. Especially when you know that he or she is not looking for nothing. He trying to like just throw like no. Because let's be clear, you can go to the club or bar and find you a drunk, intoxicated person. I'm not talking about date rape or nothing like that, but somebody that consents to laying down and giving you fleas. And some of y'all lay down and get dirty and dog with it, and then you be looking crazy. I was talking to my sister friend today, and she was talking about a guy that was all over social media. I know y'all seen him because I've seen him. And he was talking about how he has all these kids out here in the world, but he made it clear to these women, I don't want no kids. So when these girls get pregnant, he'd be like, hey, that's your problem. Because I told you from the beginning, I don't want no kids. And I'm looking like, okay, so let's get this clear. The man you chose to lay down with, this sounds like a dog. Okay. I don't want no kids. So if we're going to raw dog it, just know if you get pregnant, I ain't got nothing to do with it. My problem on my problem on top of him not being responsible, because there's worse things than just having a child. Let's be clear. Is the woman that chooses to still lay down with this man unprotected. I teach my sons. I got two sons, a 20-year-old and a 13-year-old. Let's be clear. I don't care what the girl tells you. I'm on the pill. That's great. We're going to be extra protected. If you're choosing to have premarital sex, am I supporting that and encouraging it? Hell no. But I'm in reality. I understand the shit happens. And these little people is on some other shit. Now, I tell my sons, one is of that age, they both really is, but one is mature enough and I know is having sex. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just assuming. I don't know for a fact. I'm assuming. But the other one, I'm like, no. But I still tell them when that time manifests itself, if you're not gonna be able to hold out once you get married and all that great stuff, like I would love for them to do, but whatever. Protect yourself. I don't want you to hear her say, well, I'm on the pill. That's great. Now, here's something. I ain't say this to them, but if you went to the doctor and you saw her get her Depo, right? Okay, she got a level of protections for real. If you saw her get her Norplant, okay. Oh yeah, that's like if you now you ain't gonna see this part, but if you went with her and she's scheduled to get her IUD, which these young people shouldn't be doing that, but okay, whatever. Because everybody different. Still protect yourself. And I'm just saying, we're reality. But that's children. What about you adults? Y'all don't give a hoot nanny. Some of y'all don't care about no damn 5 love languages. You ain't even trying to put that love. You like, I got 5 different type of languages, 5 different positions I can tell her about. I can tell them about. No. We're really seriously talking about learning our love languages. The world needs more love in it. When we're in these relationships, what are you seeking? This is rhetorical. Because I'm not Dr. Joyce. Okay. And I'm not Iyanla Vanzant. I can't fix her life. I struggle with my own. So I can't be fixing nobody else's life. But I can share my homework with you. I can do that. This is part of my homework. My husband and I had to read this book, as I was saying earlier, so we can learn about our love languages prior to our pastor marrying us. See, some of y'all ran off to Vegas or Ohio or other little cities in next door to your city that needed to be able to give you that quick fast and a hurry marriage because you was avoiding something, right? You jumped into it. You hurry up and you was rushing into it, but why? Because if you're gonna spend the rest of your life with somebody, don't you want to know what makes them tick? Don't you want them to know what makes you tick? What makes you happy? What brings you joy? Don't you? That's rhetorical, right? This book here was our homework. Our pastor said, you got some homework to do. And I was looking like, homework? This is supposed to be premarital counseling. Like, wait, I ain't trying to do no homework. I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. But okay, whatever. We did the work, please believe. Because he was like, and I'm going to tell you this. I love both of y'all. But if you come back to me at the end of this sessions and I feel like y'all not equally yoked, as much as I love y'all, I will not marry y'all because I have to be accountable when I answer to God about joining you as husband and wife. That was deep to me because I know some people that will marry anybody because they've been asked or they've been paid and hired. And they know that these people are like night and day, like hell no. And not complimenting each other like night and day. Because night and day does compliment each other. I've seen people, I'm looking like, how the hell did they get married? And who married them? Like, I could see that, and I'm not a licensed minister, right? I'm not licensed. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So we unpacked the love languages. And I never, prior to my pastor, I never heard of this book. I ain't know nothing about the 5 love languages. I'm like, what? No. If they had told me prior to studying, and they said, I'll give you $1 million if you could tell me the 5 love languages, I've been broke. I continue to be broke at that time. And so now I'm rich in the spirit, right? I'm rich with knowledge, this book here. So we talked about yesterday on my show, affirmations, words of encouragement, okay? This book is a great read, okay? You can get it from Amazon. If you don't want to buy the book, you're like, let me check it out. Go to your local library and rent it. Or not rent it. What is it? Take it out, check it out. That's what they say. Check it out. Okay, for those of you that still go to the library, Google it. You can get the ebook if you don't want to have. I ain't trying to have all these books and paper. I'm not trying to do that. You know how some of y'all can be. I ain't trying to do all that. Like, geesh, your future, your relationship, your covenant is not worth you downloading or getting this book. But okay, that's on y'all. So the bonus to this is this book. What did you expect? Now, this book was brought to our attention during our marriage ministry leader group at Citadel of Faith Covenant Church. And I was one of the marriage ministry leaders when we were active prior to COVID-19. And we talked about this. We unpacked it. We did workbook things and all kind of stuff. Like, there's amazing chapters in here. Like one in here, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're married or you're not, what's one of the biggest things people fight about and argue about in their relationship? Money. Right? I learned this from a person later in life. They said, when people get in relationships, they really should talk about debt, because when you marry someone, a lot of times you inherit what's going on with them, right? And you're like, like my student loans, my husband probably like, girl, them student loans, your student loans, right? I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm so sorry about that. Sorry about that. So my husband probably was like, your student loans is your student loans, TT. I ain't got nothing to do with your student loans or whatever. I ain't go to college with you. You went to college with yourself, blah, 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 blah. But, it is what it is. So it's kind of like in this book, in chapter 6 of What Did You Expect? They talk about canceling debt. We have debt, student loans. I was looking at something the other day, and they were talking about how, they'll give you a car loan. They'll qualify you for a student loan. They'll qualify you for a house mortgage loan. But you go up in their bank and try to get you a business loan. Ooh. So we see a couple things on your credit. It's like, you ain't see them things on my credit when you was giving me them student loans. You ain't see them things on my credit when you was giving me them credit card loans. You ain't see them things on my credit when you was giving me that mortgage. But when I asked you to give me a loan to build a business, a legacy, you was like, yeah. See, because we don't be thinking about that. See, some of us walk through life and we think about right now. We live in microwave moments, right? We live in microwave moments right now. But when you're in a relationship with people, hey, Terrence, shout out to Terrence, who went all the way to the other side of the earth to see Swifty and Kaniva represent the D. He went all the way from California to London. And yeah, so shout out to him. And he is the king of the pitch. We see greatness in you. And so we see greatness in you, Terrence. We do. But so in chapter 6 in this book, right? What did you expect? Yeah, when you're in a relationship, what did you expect? Like it was just gonna be roses. But that's why, as I said, there's only in this book, we talk about the 5 love languages, right? 2 great reads, right? In this book, you learn the love language. But there's a bonus I feel like I want to add. Dr. Chapman ain't tell me to do this, and he didn't even tell me to promote his book, but I'm promoting it because it's a great read. Communication should be a love language, because you need to learn how to communicate with your spouse, your significant other, right? You can't hear? Oh, no. Wait, you can't hear me? Holy Father. Shoot, wait a minute. I'm sorry, y'all, over there. Wait, Terrence, did you say you can't hear? You can't hear? Hold on. I don't know if he said that. You can't hear me. I'm sorry, y'all. I got to look out for my folks at Instagram. Let me see what he's talking about, that, or he just can't hear. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so yeah, so it was in chapter 6 when they talked about canceling debt, right? And a lot of times we ain't thinking about that. We don't talk about that. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hey Karen. So on Facebook you can hear me. Okay. So I'm trying to find out on Instagram because he said I can't hear, but we can feel your energy. So I'm trying to find out if you can hear on Instagram. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for confirming over there on Facebook. Terrence, if you still over there, because I know I had a call that interrupted my live. That could be the problem. I'm not real sure. I'll find out later, though, unfortunately. And I'm sad if you guys can't hear me on Instagram because. Hey, Tasha, my god sister, say, hey, I hear you. Tasha, you got Instagram? If you got Instagram, can you tap in over there too? Real quick, because I ain't hip. But it's all good. It's all good. If you can't, it's all good. That's my god sister. Hey, sister. Yeah, so back to this. So when we talk about communicating, like we talked about, we're thank you, Tasha. Thank you, sis. So when we talk about the 5 love languages, we're also talking about what did you expect? So I added in the bonus. Like I said, Dr. Chapman didn't ask me to add the bonus in there into his book because it ain't in the book. It's just one of those verbal additions where I'm like, you know what? You got to be able to communicate. And some of y'all don't like to communicate. Some of you don't have the skill set to communicate. You weren't taught. You're not used to it. I get that. I respect that. Hey, you could have grew up in a dysfunctional household like I did, where we talk for a minute and then we fight. Like, okay, well, you know what you want to do? Because that would be like the end of you got used to hearing what you want to do. You got used to that. You got used to people moving furniture out the way, like, let's get it in. And it's like, I thought, like, I guess that's what we do. Like, we can't resolve the shit. Let's fight it out then. But that wasn't it. And it was so unhealthy. I knew growing up that if I ever got married, if I ever had children, I will not be in a relationship where I'm fighting and fussing and arguing. Because first of all, let me be clear about this part right here. I watched The Burning Bed a whole lot growing up. Because I thought like, Now my mother wasn't the kind of mother that laid down and got beat on. No, let's be clear about that shit. But at the same time, she also shouldn't have been that kind of woman that needed to fight. A man is supposed to love on you, right? A woman's supposed to love on you. Why are we trying to beat each other like enemies? Like what? So I knew that wasn't a form of love, but sometimes, unfortunately, that old cliche, hurt people hurt people. Well, no. And I would always think to myself, you know what? I could love you a whole lot. But if I know that you're going to blacken my eye or choke me out, if you're going to leave bruises on my body, hurt my spirit or my heart, I'm so good without you. Addie, shout out to Addie. Addie said, love is patient, love is kind. That's the word. Boom. And she's a married woman with an awesome husband. Their marriage is awesome. I just got, is that my god sister over there? Tasha, I think you're over there in Instagram. Can you hear me over there in Instagram? I need to know that because I know I had someone trying to call me, which everybody knows I go live at 8 o'clock. I'm like, why y'all calling me at 8 o'clock? Well, why? Why? Jesus, why? And it's somebody to know. Oh, you hear me? Okay. So you hear me talking crap. Okay. So, but if you want to engage, Tasha, go back over to Facebook, sis, so you can engage over there if you can. So if you are in Instagram world, shout out. Oh my God. Do I see the queen, the spotted beauty? Okay. So you guys follow this young lady. I just discovered her through Facebook. I belong to this one group and I discovered her through Facebook. I am hoping that God will allow me to interview her. She has an amazing story. Yes, she says, hi, I'm there. Hey, queen, how are you? And so, and I know I might be looking back over y'all like, what you looking at, TT? Because I'm going live over here, and that's through Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all the other sites. LinkedIn. But over here, Instagram don't allow us to connect through StreamYard because they haven't grown to that yet. So we're over there. So if you would like to see, like when I do advertisement or anything like that, you can find me through TT from the D podcast. You can go over there, Queen, if you like. But it is my hope, and I'm speaking into the atmosphere, that I get to interview this young lady. I saw a bunch of people, you belong to different organizations and groups and things like that. And so you can let people to, put it out in the atmosphere that they want to be on people's shows. And I'm like, okay, that's so dope. I'm a podcaster. It is what it is, amongst other things I do. And but my platform is not for everybody. And when I say that, I'm not saying not for the listener, but I can't have everybody on my platform. Like, I'm not going to have you coming on and you promote negativity, or you're doing some stuff that I don't approve of myself as a woman or as a person, as a human being. I'm not going to bring you to the platform. Like, what? If I don't believe in what you're doing, if I don't feel it in my spirit and heart, I'm not going to give it to my people. Like, who does that? So I'm not the outlet for you. But when I get compelled and I'm moved by people's stories, I go and I look at their profiles to check them out. And that's what I did for you, Queen. She said, I would love to be on your podcast. Oh, thank you. And I'm going to have you on my podcast. I'm working on this. I'm from Michigan. So I'm in Detroit. I'm a D girl. I'm TT from the D. But so I'm working on a big production called Peerless Times right now. And so I'm also simultaneously, I still have guests that was booked from last year for this season. So as I move accordingly, I'm definitely having you on. And so I will be working, and I still got to send you my one sheet. I remembered that earlier. I was in a meeting, but I still was like putting that message in there. So I definitely am going to send that one sheet. I got your email address. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all probably like, are you having a conversation with us? Or are you talking to the beautiful one? Yes, I'm talking to the beautiful one. 1 second, y'all. Take a hard pause. So yes, so back to you, Queen. So I'm going to definitely reach out to you. I definitely would love to have you on my show. You have an amazing story. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to go and follow The Spotted Beauty on Instagram. Amazing story. She already confirmed she's going to do my show, and I'm feeling full in my spirit because you're beautiful. And I love your story. I love your influence. I love your energy and your vibe. And so when you were amongst a lot of people that was in that thread I was watching, you're the only one I reached out to thus far, because you kind of made me curious. And I'm like, let me look. I want to hear. I want to see. I want to watch. I want to look. And so it was enough to move me to say, let me take my shot, as people say as podcasters. Let me take my shot. Yeah. So I took my shot. You could have told me no. I still would have followed you. It don't matter. I would have still followed you. I wouldn't have been like, well, you know what? Well, you ain't gonna follow me. I mean, you ain't gonna accept my energy. I'm I'm not that girl. I still follow people, whether they acknowledge me or they don't, because if God leads me to do it and my spirit say that's somebody you need to follow. See, I'm going through social media and I'm starting to unfollow folks. If you ain't doing anything and you're negative, or you're just dormant, like you could have a bot. Like some of you don't even have your accounts anymore, and that's okay. I need to clear up space. I got things to do and people to bring forth. So as Jesus said when he was raising Lazarus, Lazarus, come forth. That's what he said. I had to say that because that's one of the scenes from Fearless Times. Okay. So anyway, back to this, because we're getting 10 minutes before we have to shut it down. Remember, these are two amazing books, right? The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, right? And What Did You Expect by Paul Tripp. Again, this book I learned because my husband and I, Swifty, we had to learn about this before we were able to get married. We went through premarital counseling, and this was something we had to do. It's amazing. It's a great book, not just for married people, but people in relationships. Now, Addie, you said, please text me those. Queen, you can borrow these if you want to, Addie. You and I have a relationship. So if you want to borrow these, you can. If you want to own them yourself, I will text them, on screenshot them, and I'll text you after the show. But yeah, so these are 2 amazing books. If you're married, it's something great. And what's so dope about it, if you have a significant other that is one of those, let's sow into our marriage, let's sow into our relationship, let's build, right? That's what it's about. Build. We want to grow old, and we want to create legacies, and we want to give examples to our friends, our family. If you have a child or children, you want to show them the example of what love looks like from the home, because we're their first teachers. We're their true first advanced educators on what love looks like. What does communication look like? If we don't teach them, the world will. And we see what the world is teaching us, right? We see what the world is teaching us. And sometimes we have to unlearn what we've learned, right? We have to unlearn what we've learned. I say that to so many people. You really have to unlearn what we've learned. Some things is like we should have never been taught. Some things were self taught because when we didn't get educated in the home, we educated ourselves or we follow the leader, and we followed people that we had no business on this earth following. They were not worthy of being followed, but we weren't educated. We didn't know. We looked for love in places that it didn't exist. So when we talk about the 5 love languages, right? Let me go back over those for y'all. So those that are tuning in, you may not know what I'm talking about. The 5 love languages are: number 1, words of affirmation. If you checking out my new show, the top of the morning show, you can hear it Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Anchor.fm, right? You can hear these topics and much more. Addie said, yes, and experiences teach you things, whether good or bad. This is true, Queen. This is very true. And so we unpacked yesterday on the top of the morning show. And the segments, that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. You can always go back and listen. Now, the Tap In Tuesdays, you can go back and check it out, but you can't go back and engage. That's why I'm always trying to encourage you. Go, if you have a podcast, I mean, not a podcast, if you have a Facebook page, go to your Facebook page, log in. You can engage like some of the folks is doing right now, and or make your comments, right? If you don't have a Facebook page and you're on another site, like I can't tell what people are doing on YouTube. I can't tell what they're doing on Twitter. I can't tell what they're doing on LinkedIn. I just know that I'm streaming, right? I can't engage with them like that. The only way I can see it from my perspective is if you go and you do it from StreamYard through your Facebook. Okay, so yesterday we unpacked affirmation, words of affirmation. That's one of the most powerful love languages there is. Connected, they should add on communication, because you must learn to communicate. We have to learn how to communicate, whether it's in your relationship with your child or children, at work, with an employer, with an employee. You have to absolutely learn how to communicate. And Addie said, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't miss this one. I got to go and catch up. But this one is some good stuff right here. Oh, thank you, Addie. And don't forget, we getting ready, girlfriend. Listen, we're going to be unpacking Zatima and Sisters. For those of you, oh my God, we had so much fun last season on TT from the D. We unpacked the characters of Sisters, and it was, which sister are you? And so it was myself, it was Addie Cunningham, it was Christina Benjamin from Atlanta, Georgia, and it was Bianca Smith from Atlanta, Georgia. We had an amazing time. Amazing, amazing time. I can't wait either, Addie. Yeah. I can't wait either. It's gonna be live. I've missed out on some. I'm gonna binge watch with Swift when he returns from tour. So anyway, because he loves Sisters and Zatima. We are fans. We are true fans. Shout out to Tyler Perry. Because I told you I'm gonna work with him one day. He don't know it just yet. I'm not a stalker. It's okay. But I'm a stage manager, I'm a production manager, I'm an artist assistant. I do a whole lot of different things besides podcasting and working my 9 to 5, where I'm a recruiter for HR. I do a whole lot, but I love it. My gift makes room for me. So I love it. Okay. So listen. So we talked about words of affirmation. That's 1. 2, quality time. 3, receiving gifts. 4, acts of service, which we broke down on this morning show, on top of the morning show. Acts of service. What does that look like, TT? Okay, wait, before I give you examples, before we shut out. Number 5, physical touch. Learn your love language. Learn your love language. Okay. Addie said, yes, you will, and he's going to steal you from me. You silly. Girl, I'm going to always fly back in and help you out. Girl, you already know what it is. I told you, if I'm available on my calendar, I'm there. I'm always going to be there if I'm available. You already know that. So, with acts of service, because we were unpacking that on the top of the morning show this morning. Acts of service. Okay, for example, hypothetically, it is a two-way street. Let's not be one-sided. I'm not for them games, because men need this just as much as we do, ladies. Be clear. Okay, we do. Men, y'all need to learn acts of service. Some of y'all be like, I go to work, so I mean, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. And let's be clear, you hear this little spicy stuff from people, and I hope you don't really mean it in your marriages or serious relationships. Well, if you don't do it, somebody will. Come on, that's the adversary. That's why communication is important. If you know your significant other likes something, wants to do something different, moving in a different, growing, because that's what we aim to do as we get older, then grow with them. Okay. If you don't really know what that looks like, hey, I noticed that you like this now. So you don't like that? Nah, I don't like that anymore. And it's crazy because I did a mix and mingle a couple years ago. We did one for our married couples poor group, which is a group of married couples. You don't got to belong to our church. It was just married people. So you could be anywhere in the world, right? If we decide we're going to have a married couples poor retreat and we're going to do a couples getaway, all married people is invited. I'm going to vet you, though. Let me be clear. I'm going to vet you. So you would have to, send me some information. I'm going to do a background check for real. And I ain't talking about running your credit and stuff like that, but I'm going to look into your life because I don't want everybody coming in and bringing energy and you're not married, y'all lying. It's too much. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm gonna vet you. That's my job. I'm a recruiter. I know how to vet. So I'm a vet y'all. But because if we're gonna do something and we're trying to promote and encourage healthy relationships, marriages, love, and taking things to the next level, then we want to be on one accord. So acts of service can be something simple as your significant other had a rough day and you're the cook of the family. Okay. That would be you saying, you know what? I'm gonna grab a bite. I'm gonna grab carry out tonight. I don't know how to cook. Or some of y'all know people. We all know somebody that's a chef, right? I know 3 of them that I can call. They may not be available unless I book them early, but they're family, like, right? One for sure. And so I still respect their time, their space, and their quality. So it's kind of like if you were that person that don't cook, don't like to cook, you ain't big on carry out, order something. Your significant other expressed they had a rough day, hey, do that. If you have a significant other and you like, okay, they love bubble baths or soaking and they, my body is aching and blah, blah, blah. Be mindful. Run a bubble bath, Epsom salt bath, light a candle for them. If they like a glass of wine while they soak, that sounds sexy, don't it? So if they like a glass of wine while they soak and the candle's burning, and they ain't gotta know. Do that. When they get in from work or wherever they're coming from, they just landed because a lot of people jet set and they're bam, about 15 minutes out, 20 minutes out, I'll be there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I bet. Now you got time, like the little candles, put the little, whether it's wine or they have their favorite libation or big thing of water, tea, coffee, whatever that looks like, right? If they like to soak and read, whatever that looks like, it's an act of service. Okay, it's an act of service. So it's a two-way street, as I said. It's not just for men to cater to us as women, but ladies, we have to also cater to the men as well. Y'all remember that song Beyonce and Destiny Child and them had, Cater to You? It was a hit. It wasn't a hit just because it was something we just like, oh, that sounds dope. No, people, if you listen to the words, it resonated with you because you said, you know what, I want to cater to you. We need these things. We do. Men need it just as much as we do, ladies. They do. Now, they may not say it, but they do. And they'll respect it and they'll appreciate it. Okay, so we're at that hour mark, right? Remember, great book to read, The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. Okay. A bonus book that I didn't even tell you I was going to give y'all today is What Did You Expect? I said earlier to those of you that are just tuning in now, I'm going to take some time and I'm going to dedicate a month to unpacking these, which means I'm going to read through my top of the morning show. I'm going to go for reading a chapter in the morning. We'll do a whole week or 2. I'm a good reader. I ain't going to be speed reading, but if I need to do 2 weeks, I can. It's my podcast. I can, but it's going to be based off of breaking down this. And then on that Tap In Tuesday for each week of that month, I'm going to have licensed therapists, counselors, real people in real relationships, whether they're failed or not failed, to come on the panel. Y'all know I like to bring people to the forefront on Tuesdays. So whatever I choose to do, I'm doing something new on my Top of the Morning show. We're spilling over into my Tap In Tuesday. There's a rhyme and a reason for everything I do. So we're going to do that. So with that being said, we're going to end this night. Remember, Peerless Times. If you are in the D, Peerless Times is going down April 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Fisher Theater. I am one of the stage managers. I'm super stoked about it. This is my 17,000th time. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to serve as a stage manager more times than not on this production, and it's amazing each and every time. Tonight, we're going to close out the show with one of Everard Cassimi's. Shout out to Everard Cassimi, who is our former Channel 4 News anchor from Detroit. He's putting it down as an anchor in Chicago. And so they're lucky to have him, but he's always going to be an artist. His project that he had that I was blessed to be a stage manager for was The Life of James. And so I'm going to shut us down tonight with Amen. Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to shut us down tonight with his song called Amen off of The Life of James EP. And this is by Everard Cassimy. That's EVROD CASSIMY. Everard Cassimy. Tune in for Top of the Tap In Tuesday next Tuesday and Top of the Morning Show tomorrow, where we'll be talking about what we breaking down tomorrow. Let me see. I'm gonna be talking about it in the morning before I leave for work. What we're gonna talk about? Receiving gifts. We're gonna talk about receiving gifts tomorrow for the Top of the Morning Show. Remember, you can check me out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Amazon Music. Okay, those are some of the platforms you can hear my show live streaming Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about what we say. I forgot that fast. Girl, boy, friends, bye. I forgot. So we're going to talk about receiving gifts. So on that note, good night, everybody. Be safe, whatever you do on this beautiful Tap In Tuesday. And as we're going to play this out, may the Lord give you all that your hearts desire. Amen.
They say you can't do both. You be up on TV, then singing them songs you wrote. Boy, you better pick one thing, 'cause we ain't trying to hear you sing. I ain't never heard nobody, yeah, but time and time again they try me, yeah. If that makes me a bad person, well, maybe you're the one who's hurting. Why you gotta hurt me so good? I will not be misunderstood. I won't let you break me again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. Sometimes they try to break you down. They see you loving life, well, this is upside down. Listen to me, sometimes it works, but them's the times. I gotta put me first. I ain't never hurt nobody, yeah. I am who I am, they can't take that away from me. Look to the one who made you who you are. You're a star, and you're gonna go far. Why you gotta hurt me so good? I will not be misunderstood. I won't let you break me again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. Amen. Amen.